How happy I was early in September to receive the kind letter from your registrar, illustrious brother Terry Slatehome, 33 Degrees, formally inviting me, on behalf of illustrious brother Gareth Taylor, 33 Degrees, your deputy, to attend this fall reunion of Toronto Sovereign Chapter Rose Croix, and to make this the first official visit during my term as Sovereign Grand Commander. To kick off my upcoming official visits that I will be making by starting here in Toronto is a thrill and an honor for me. To stand here addressing you, the members of such an important and successful valley of our Scottish Rite, and to be here in this city of Toronto, a true world-class city, nestled as it is in the shadows of Hamilton, makes me very happy. Yours is a community rich in its culture, usually a home of professional sports, a center for the arts and entertainment, a force driving the Canadian economy, a hub for higher education, and a destination for tourism and recreation. And like your city, this Scottish Rite Valley of Toronto, with its rich and full history, also has, I am convinced, a promising and prosperous future, providing unlimited opportunity for all of Masonry, and particularly for our Scottish Rite to flourish and grow. Your valley has provided so many wonderful leaders who have served not only our craft, but all of your community so well. Without recounting the many talented men who have gone before us, I do pay tribute to 4 men recently passed to the Grand Lodge above and well known to most of us. I speak of illustrious brother C. Edwin Drew, 33 Degrees, past Most Wise Sovereign of this body, past Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Canada in the province of Ontario, and a past active member of our Supreme Council. Illustrious brother John Lahr, 33 Degrees, Sovereign Grand Commander of this Supreme Council from 1991 until 1994, and a true leader within our Scottish Rite. Illustrious brother Sam Gilmore, 33 Degrees, one of the very first recipients of our John Ross Matheson Award, and of illustrious brother Andy Downs, 33 Degrees, a past thrice-piercing Grand Master and a past Commander-in-Chief of Moore Sovereign Consistory. Each of these men is an example for all of us to follow. Each was so dedicated to the fraternity. Each portrayed those characteristics so important to all of us, and each of whom, together with all other departed brethren, we miss dearly. I also pay tribute to some of those brethren of this valley who now are playing an enormous role within our Supreme Council. In particular, I recognize and honor illustrious brother Terry A. McLean, 33 Degrees, a past Most Wise Sovereign of this body, our immediate past Sovereign Grand Commander, creator of very large shoes for me to attempt to fill, and now the Grand Secretary General for Supreme Council. Illustrious brother Gareth Taylor, 33 Degrees, active member of Supreme Council, past thrice-piercing Grand Master, president of the Scottish Rite Charitable Foundation, and who for many years served as deputy for Ontario, including responsibility for this Valley of Toronto, and now will continue to serve us as our grand historian. Among his many new contributions will be the compilation and production of an updated history of Supreme Council from the years 1975 to 2024, which will mark the 150th anniversary of our Supreme Council. You all know that this year is the 150th anniversary for Scottish Rite in Canada, and when our Supreme Council reaches its 150th year, I know that the work completed by Gareth and his committee will ensure that our treasured history is well preserved for future generations. Illustrious Brother Duncan Skinner, 33 degrees, active member of Supreme Council, who lends his abilities so freely both to our Supreme Council and to our charitable foundation. And illustrious Brother Alan Stoddard, 33 degrees, who was crowned an active member of Supreme Council this past September, and I know that his special talents will serve us well in the years to come. We all also have benefited so much from the hard work of those brethren from your valley, now past active, illustrious brothers Donald Lambie, Richard Quinton, and Sidney Skip Whiteley. All have provided and continue to provide so much guidance and experience, both to your valley and to our Supreme Council. And as I turn from the past to the future, I congratulate our candidates today. To have traveled through the 3 degrees of your craft lodges and to continue through the degrees of the Lodge of Perfection already demonstrates your dedication and your interest in Scottish Rite. My hope and goal for you is that your enthusiasm continues to grow and becomes an integral part of your life. Our duty to you is to help to make that happen. So how fitting it is to begin my series of official visits here in the Valley of Toronto. I mentioned this being the 150th anniversary of Scottish Rite in Canada. The city of Toronto was incorporated in 1834. Certainly, the Toronto of today is not the Toronto it was in 1834, nor of 150 years ago, or even 50 or 25 years ago. This is a city that has experienced tremendous growth and change. That tiny community of 150 years ago now boasts a population in the GTA of in excess of 6 million people. Within the next 50 years, we are told that this number is expected to double. Not only has there been this enormous growth, but Toronto now is one of the true multicultural centers of the world. In the 2011 census, which even then was 7 years ago, it is stated that just over 4 in every 10 persons reported a mother tongue other than English and French. Italian, Cantonese, Punjabi, Tagalog, Spanish, Urdu, Tamil, and Portuguese all were mentioned. The 2011 National Household Survey referred to at least 48 different ethnic origins. No doubt, since 2011, this diversity has increased even more, and in my submission, provides a wonderful opportunity for all of us to demonstrate to the world the true value of our Masonic principles. As we know, Freemasonry is spread throughout most of the world. We also know that every Mason, wherever he may be situated, embraces our fundamental principles of brotherly love, relief, and truth. What better community to witness and demonstrate the manner in which our Masonic beliefs and principles, common to all of us, cut across any man-made boundaries separating cultures or any differences based on origin, and overcomes any limitations imposed by language differences, religious traditions, and the many other cultural factors that, to those living outside of the overriding virtues of brotherly love, relief, and truth, so often disrupt our communities. Rather than negatively focusing on differences, we as Masons are taught to see and recognize the treasures that each man brings to us, to see the good in all, and to practice those virtues which, when applied, cannot help but to make the world a better place. But all this depends on us. We must live and demonstrate our commitment to these principles. In his well-known book, Good to Great, author Jim Collins tells us, any great and enduring human institution must stay true to its underpinning of core values and a sense of timeless purpose that should never change. In the book, Managing the Future of Freemasonry, Dr. David West tells us, to be a good Freemason is to exhibit specific virtues. The most important of these are the three grand principles: brotherly love, relief, and truth, and the four cardinal virtues: prudence, fortitude, temperance, and justice. Listen to a judgment issued out of the Court of Queen's Bench in England, delivered in 1957. Masons are charged to be good citizens, to work honestly, to act as moral and wise men, to relieve a brother in want, and to cultivate brotherly love, so that all may see the benign influence of Masonry. What better place could our fraternity put these principles into practice and demonstrate them publicly and proudly to all humanity than here in a diverse and multicultural center such as the city of Toronto? Recently, the Supreme Council of the Northern Masonic Jurisdiction of the Scottish Rite in the United States commissioned an in-depth, comprehensive, and data-driven study conducted by an independent research and marketing firm, which included 2 surveys, one of the Scottish Rite members, and the second of American men who were not Masons. The results are striking, and I certainly recommend a thorough reading of the resulting publication, which is titled Reclaiming the Soul of Freemasonry. Of significance is that among those men who were not Masons, when presented with the messages of fraternity, integrity, compassion, and becoming a better person, 57% said they would consider joining Freemasonry. So our principles are not outdated. They're not old-fashioned, and most certainly not out of style. Furthermore, I suggest to you that, as evidenced by the diversity found in this community today, and the valued and welcome diversity among the members of your Valley of Toronto, these principles clearly are similarly applicable and important throughout all nations, now more than ever. Ours is a brotherhood of men supporting men, men sharing the ideals of common good, men regardless of nationality, origin, race, or creed, all sharing good times together, common values, the promotion of a strong and vibrant society of man in concert with fellow man, and having fun doing so. To be true to our values, however, we can't simply keep them to ourselves. We must let the world know what we stand for and put our principles out into the community. We must not only be Masons, we must live like Masons and be seen to proudly live like Masons. Our job in Supreme Council is to help all of you as a valley and as individuals to make this easier to happen. As such, let me outline for you some of the more recent initiatives taken by your Supreme Council, all with the goal of making Scottish Rite Masonry stronger, more successful, more enjoyable, and more fun. First, the Bylaw Template. Most constituent bodies, and in some cases valleys, have their own bylaws. Notwithstanding our individual bylaws, the bylaws of every valley or of every body, every constituent body, is subject to and must be consistent with our statutes and regulations. While this makes common sense and leads to consistency, a common focus sometimes, it has resulted in confusion. The procedure for a body to enact and to amend its bylaws is set out in Supreme Council's statutes and regulations. Essentially, the body must follow the procedure, and then, once the amendment or bylaw is passed by the body, it is forwarded to the deputy, and then to Supreme Council, where it is reviewed by the Committee on Jurisprudence and Legislation, and to the Finance Committee, and ultimately to the Sovereign Grand Commander. Any flaw discovered along the way results in the proposed amendment being sent back to the Valley and essentially having to start the process all over. Now, sometimes an error is made that, although quite innocent, results in this delay, frustration, and dissatisfaction. For example, our statutes and regulations specifically state that the bylaws for a chapter of Croix must state that meetings will be held on Maundy, Thursday. Sometimes a valley, although always actually meeting on Maundy, Thursday, will omit this from the list of required meetings in their bylaw. This simply results in the bylaw amendment being rejected and the process having to start all over again. So to assist our valleys, we have devised what we refer to as a bylaw template. Although this is not mandatory, this provides an outline or a template to be used by valleys and bodies to structure bylaws or amendments in a manner that coincides and corresponds with the statutes and regulations. As easy as filling in the blanks, we hope that this template will facilitate those valleys that find it necessary to enact new bylaws or amend existing bylaws, and will result in getting it right the first time. You will soon find the bylaw template on our Scottish Rite website, and I commend it to you for your review. Presentation of the Path Forward program prepared by the Northern Jurisdiction. I already referred to this very interesting and helpful report compiled as a result of the in-depth survey conducted by the Northern Jurisdiction of the Supreme Council in the United States. A portion of this report was presented by illustrious Brother Gail Kemp, 33 Degrees, to our Supreme Council session this past September in London, Ontario. This has been videoed and will be available on our Scottish Rite website. And again, I commend it to you. It's well worth reading. Playbills. The feedback that we received from our own national membership survey conducted in 2015 told us loudly and clearly that education is important and it's what our members seek. As such, the Education and Enlightenment Committee, along with several other initiatives, has developed degree playbills for many degrees. These playbills provide information and artwork pertaining to the degree and can be utilized as a theatrical tool for the benefit of those who seek more information and background material for each degree. These too will be available through our website. Music. Not all valleys are as fortunate as here in Toronto or in Hamilton in having wonderful musical talent, equipment, and resources available. Those of us who have been spoiled with the rich musical component accompanying each degree know how important it is and how much it adds to the experience. Recognizing that many valleys lack such resources, the music for the Lodge of Perfection degrees and for the Rose Croix degrees has been downloaded and is available to any valley to follow along via a link and then to broadcast at the proper time through a relatively inexpensive Bluetooth speaker system. High-quality music, which thereby provides that rich musical component to our degree work. This too can, as I indicated, be accessed through our website, and any technical difficulties that might be encountered in downloading the program can easily be overcome through simple contact with our Supreme Council office. PowerPoint Discovery Program for use in craft lodges. We all know that our membership source is our craft lodge. Craft lodge masons need to know what we are all about. Recognizing this need, we have produced a PowerPoint presentation for use in our craft lodges and to be presented as a tool to explain what we are all about, our history, and the benefits of Scottish Rite Masonry. Here we have an opportunity to take our message directly to our prospective candidates. And again, I urge you to turn to our website to consider utilizing this as a resource to spread the word of Scottish Rite Masonry. Now, these are but some of the initiatives that have been developed, largely during the term of your own illustrious brother Terry McLean during his time as Sovereign Grand Commander, but which will continue to roll out in the future, all with the purpose of making your Scottish Rite experience grow, be more satisfying, and fun. Please keep in touch through your own Valley membership, your deputy, your members of Supreme Council, our website, and the websites of all the other bodies throughout Canada. This Valley of Toronto is a busy and highly successful part of our Scottish Rite. As I read the annual report submitting this past September to Supreme Council by your deputy, illustrious brother Taylor, I read of successful Master Masons' nights, informative editions of the Toronto Valley News, an informative and active website, an effective officer nominating committee, support being given to the Toronto Scottish Rite Club and to the Oshawa Scottish Rite Club, successful social events and charitable endeavors, strong support being provided to neighboring consistories in both Hamilton and Barrie, a Valley membership committee, a Toronto Scottish Rite Research Society, and the list goes on. All good things, all worthy things to be continued, and all important things for you, the candidates today, to pick up and run with. In closing, I want you to know my view that we are all in this together. No idea or suggestion is a bad idea or suggestion. We in Supreme Council want to work with you. And if you have suggestions, ideas, constructive criticism, or thoughts on how we can improve, I encourage you to let us know. Feel free to contact our Supreme Council office. We want to help all of us succeed. We have a good thing going, and with your help, we can make it even better. I hope that with these remarks, I've let you share in the passion that I have for Scottish Rite Masonry, the passion shown in your Supreme Council, and that it will help make our fraternity strong and effective, and the pride that we all have in knowing that it is our Masonic principles and their application that make us better men, that make our society strong, that justly make us proud of this country of Canada and its way of life, and that strengthens the friendship and common bonds and values that each of us has and shares with the man sitting beside you today, with those across the table, with those within our lodges here and everywhere, with those across our country, and with those throughout this world of ours. Thank you, brethren.